Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race RHAPup here on reality TV RHAPups. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and today we're going to be talking about RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 9, Episode 3, Snatch Game of Love. We're going to get into everything from, of course, the snippin', the benefactress badges, and all of the wonderful stuff that happened with our double Liberace episode. So let me welcome in our wonderful panel here to help me break everything down. First, Beth Dixon. Beth, how are you?
I'm doing well, but I am a little disappointed that the three of us did not come dressed as Liberace today.
I know. It's like an
as soon as you went live, I was
episode.
like, why didn't we do that? That would have been so funny, except for that I was traveling all day. But besides that.
Yeah, and I have nothing remotely Liberace themed. But you
sadly,
know what?
I do.
Not a damn thing.
Never say sadly.
That's right.
Hey, if you just heard his voice, it's Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
I am great. Glad to be back to talk some more All-Stars 9. Interesting episode. Some cool things happen here and there. So, yeah, excited to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. We get another iteration of Snatch Game, which I think always feels like a milestone somehow in like just Drag Race history in general. We're getting another one. This time, I love the fact that the Bachelors were Raven and Monet Exchange. Like, what a gag. Yeah. Or maybe Raven. Again, not 100% sure. Raven's current look, but you know what, we had a good time. I think that was really funny, and you know, especially with the non-eliminations as well, Aman, I think that it's hopefully liberating to some of the queens, but there were definitely some performances in this episode I felt like, oh, you're lucky, girl.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, when it's a non-elimination episode or season rather, and you get to do Snatch Game on that season, girl, just do what you need to do. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I think that takes so much of the anxiety away, but I am pleased about quite a few of the performances, and definitely, you know, I mean, I've never really not been a fan of Gottmik, like during her season, but this episode kind of like solidified it for me. So I'm just, yeah, Snatch Game was fun. It was a good time.
I found myself in this episode mildly entertained, I think is the way for me to put it. Like, I didn't think anybody was so atrocious that I was like, boo, tomato. But I also, because I didn't care that much, I think is like what it is. And I don't know if that's a symptom of the non-elimination format or if it's just like, here's Snatch Game, there's no stakes. I don't know. But I just kind of, I felt like everybody did a relatively serviceable job with a couple people doing really well. Like, I know we'll get into it a little bit more. I know that the two Liberaces were very different, but I think that Chanel got a little harsher critiques than maybe she should have. And I think that other people should have gotten way harsher critiques than they did. So I think that is a symptom of the non-elimination format that at the very least, I wish they would say, I know we're not doing eliminations, but girl, you got to step your pussy up. Like, I would love that.
Yeah. Well, and that was something that we had talked about last week with, none of the critiques are really saying anything. And even if it is negative, it's still like weirdly packaged in still a semi-nice way. We're not really seeing any of that. And I felt like in this episode, you know, who did I laugh out loud at? Like, who do I think did genuinely a really good job versus some people who were just, you know, being themselves again that maybe didn't like quite come across the way that you wanted to. Like, for me, had pretty much a very clear top 3 and I think a very clear bottom 3. So to me, it felt like, okay, this is an easy way to sort of demarcate between the tops and bottoms, but the comments from the judges did not necessarily reflect that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I mean, I think Snatch Game for like All-Stars is also kind of interesting because like I feel like it's known as like such the midpoint. It's like Survivor's Merge or Big Brother's Jury, right? You get to the midpoint, you get to do Snatch Game. But with All-Star seasons, it always seems like, as of recently, it seems to be like the second or third episode. So it doesn't always feel as if you've climbed this mountain to get to Snatch Game. So that kind of takes a little bit of the air out of the wings, but like I still had a good time with
I think that's an interesting point because there was, I can't remember who it was. They were like, I think it was Nina who was like, I don't think they would do Snatch Game this early. I was like, girl, have you watched All Stars? Have you watched All Stars?
Yeah, I think it was Chanel who said that. And I was like,
I was like,
Well, and also it was funny hearing that comment. Obviously, we saw the next time on, so we like knew Snatch Game was coming. So it was, I really
Right.
enjoyed the editing. Actually, it's so funny that Nina and Chanel actually had that conversation about the dueling Liberace's at the beginning, knowing that that was coming. Like when that dropped, I'm sure the editors were like, yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much. We are definitely putting them in.
I was surprised that they still both were Liberace, because I feel like we've seen that happen before, at least once or twice, where two queens have the same character and then one of them is just like, okay, fine, I'll do something else. So the fact that they actually went ahead and did it, I was like, okay, yes, I'm gonna see this competition. I want to see who's better. I'm so interested into it. I'm invested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's actually the question I wanted to start with, was like, how did you guys both respond to that? I mean, obviously, you know, Aman was shocked. I was actually shocked. I figured that one of them was going to switch, just because, as Aman mentioned, that's usually what happens. But Beth, they went ahead with the both doing Liberace. They were both like, look, I've worked really hard on this and I'm going to do it.
I think once again, this is the non-elimination format coming to show its head, because I do think if you are having your life in the competition on the line, I think that that's where they would sit back and go, okay, I think this could mess with my chance to win, or it could mess with me and maybe I go in the bottom, because not only am I getting compared just for my performance, I'm going to get compared to this other person for my performance. So I think that this was absolutely more of like a, there's no downside to having us both do it. So like, let's do it kind of thing. But that said, I thought they both did a great job. Like I do think obviously Nina was more in it energy wise, but I don't think her jokes were funnier than what Chanel was coming up with. I just think that Chanel's energy was off. And that was really for me the difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yes. Okay. Look, let's just talk about it, because I think that for me, so Snatch Game, obviously Snatch Game love, that's what we're doing. That's a maxi challenge. Oh, the other wrinkle in this is obviously the badge situation with like giving a badge away. We can talk about that at the end, because there was so much conversation about that and like the math, doing the math with the strategy and the calculators.
I know that Monet Exchange was like, girl, let me just tell you about how strategery is a work in this. Like, I knew that she was at home being like, yes, Roxy, come up with the math. So I'm excited to talk about that later.
I know. It's so funny to watch them do strategy, especially because like for us that are so like ingrained in strategy, like that's just so natural for us to see people be like, oh my God, we're like, it's so funny. Anyway, okay, whatever. Let's talk about Snatch Game 1. So speaking of Monet comes back as I believe Kevin was Monet Exchange. And this group was Angeria, Roxy, Chanel, and Georges. So those were the 4. And to be honest, obviously I understand why they separated the Liberace's, but part of me was kind of like, I kind of want to see them together.
I think it would have been so funny to put them next to each other, like in the middle. And it could have been like, I wonder if they would have gone for like a whole mirror thing at some point. Like, I think it would have been really fun.
Like just for the gag of it all. I think that would have been funny.
That changes the whole dynamic of both Snatch Games if the both of them are there together. I really wanted them to do that.
Who should we have switched? Like, would you have put like Gottmik in the other group?
Probably, because Gottmik was probably the stronger one. Yeah, so put the 2 Liberace's together and then put Gottmik in she'll fill either or space.
Yeah, I could definitely see that swap being made. Okay, but yeah, I really wanted that to happen just for the mess of it all. Like, who cares? You're on season 9 of All Stars. You have 1,000 seasons of Drag Race. Like, just do it. Let's just
and
do
no one's
it.
going home.
Nobody going home.
Yeah, no one's going home. So why not? Although, can you imagine being in that situation? Like, you already know, especially if you're Chanel, you've never done Drag Race before, and then someone's already doing
Drag Race before.
You've never done Drag Race. You've never done Snatch Game before. And like you put in the same group. Imagine sitting next to Nina West and just being like, how the fuck am I gonna like out act this person? Anyway, whatever.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so Snatch Game 1 with Monet. Aman, who is your standout in this group? So we had Angeria, Roxy, Chanel, and Georges as our 4.
I mean, I think I agreed with a lot of what the judges said about Angeria. I felt like she was funny, she was witty. It didn't feel as big as maybe I wanted it to be, which you know, I don't know, maybe I have to temper myself a little bit because like not every damn like impersonation has to be like big and zany. But when I think of Angeria, I kind of just like expect something to be, I'm just expecting you ugly bitch the whole time. And so I think that it was a little muted, but still really, really good. I was kind of shocked that George just won Kevin's heart out of that because I felt like Angeria was a little stronger in terms of the wittiness.
We'll get to the Georges of it all, I'm sure. But in terms of Angeria, I thought that her jokes were there, but I felt like what was happening is that she knew where she wanted to go, but didn't necessarily know how to get there. So sometimes it felt like the joke was just taking a second to get there, and she was figuring it out as she went. And then once it landed, it was fine. But I felt like a lot of her performance was, how do I get to this joke? I could see her and feel her thinking, but it didn't feel like a character. It just felt like her, like, putting on a homophobe Christian woman.
That's a homophobe Christian.
Well, because so I mean, she did Marla Gibbs from the Jeffersons, and obviously when the very first intro question, she had a way to sort of spin like the Jeffersons reference, and then other than that, that was definitely the vibe, Beth, that she was giving. For me, though, I kind of didn't really mind it all that much. And I actually thought she had some really good, quick comebacks. I loved the Lord have mercy, you do drugs too. That, I don't know why. Like, that
was
really
so
made me
funny.
laugh when they were having to name, like, what their edible would be. That was really funny. And then, like, the one about how would you entertain me? And she was like, we're going to go on our knees and pray. I don't know why. Like, I just felt like she had enough there and enough comebacks that were definitely rooted in the conversation that didn't feel like prepped ahead of time, maybe necessarily. You know, the casserole dish was like, it was cute, but you know, whatever, not like the most amazing thing. But I actually think that Angeria did a really good job. And there was a split second where I thought she could have been in the top two.
Yeah, I think that she was definitely one of the top. I just felt like compared to a couple of the other queens, like it felt like the more she went on, she was more comfortable with it, but I felt like she was trying to find her footing at first. And I don't know, like, whereas other people who have done somebody who like maybe is an older reference, it's like that you introduce them to this audience. And I didn't feel like she did much of like introducing. It just felt like stereotypical woman who doesn't like gay people or drugs or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, that's understandable. Yeah.
That's where my issue was. And it didn't feel like an impersonation, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's another
It's still
thing
funny.
Talk about with like,
don't get me wrong.
Decision. So, I mean, we had a lot of people. So we had Roxy with Tasha Salad. I don't know if you can count. I mean, Georges's was like John Leguizamo, but it was like Chi-Chi, supposed to be Chi-Chi from Tu Wong Fu at the same time. Anyway, whatever. And then you had Vanjie doing Cleopatra and then Gottmik as the dog, right? So I felt like there were also a lot of people in this Snatch Game that didn't pick not real people, but you know what I mean? Like they didn't pick, like this is clearly not supposed to be an impersonation of someone that we are all familiar with. So at least I wanted to give Angeria like some credit for at least picking someone who was like not.
I also want to say for the record, I watched this sober, and normally I like to watch Drag Race a little edible myself. And I think this should have been the Snatch Game I watched for the first time high, and I did it. I'm the one who messed up more than anything.
Big mistake. Huge.
Big mistake. Huge.
Okay, well let's talk about Roxy because you know essentially her comments from the judges, Aman, were like, "Oh, it was a passable job, but you kind of didn't know what you were doing with it." And Roxy even admits it on Talk, like this was a safe performance for me. Like I was not trying to shoot or go above and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely, you know, called on that nostalgia that is so in nowadays. We all love a reboot, right? A reboot, as it were. And so I do think Tasha Charlotte, while she is an iconic Drag Race character, I don't know. Is she like? I don't know. Well, there just wasn't really much. There wasn't a lot where she could go with it, you know. So.
That's exactly where I think too. I think I'm going to take the step back. I want us to be a little real here for a second. Now we all know.
Ooh, let's get real.
I was just trying to give Tasha her oats.
I know. I'm going to be the person that will always bring. Is Tasha Salad really an icon? Or is it like Roxy trying to make something work?
Okay, so remind me if I'm off kilter about this, but she was Tasha Salad obviously in the like children's TV show thing or whatever.
Yes.
Then didn't she redo Tasha Salad for the roast where she was hosting?
No, she did
Okay.
Tasha Salad in the comedy duo challenge of All Stars 2, where she was not chosen as a partner with the
Correct.
eliminated queens, whatever. And she had to play the host.
Yes.
But she
Okay.
didn't start off as Tasha Salad.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
started off at herself, realized she was
And then
bombing, and
melded
then
into
did
it.
Tasha Salad and got
Yes,
a
okay.
laugh for one time and then could not keep it up for the rest of the time. So it's
That's
one
what
of those,
makes her iconic.
but I don't know. I want to say for the record, I love Roxy Andrews. And you know what? If she wanted to only do Tasha Salad, I'm here for it. But I have to say, like, I don't even know if this would have been a safe job in like a normal drag race or like like if there was an elimination format, like would this have been safe or would it been bottom 3 and she would probably have not been the bottom 2? That's where I'm wondering.
Okay, so if we had to put, so this is like getting a little bit from, so we haven't talked about everybody yet, but I would say I think Roxy for me would probably end up in the like low but safe category because for me, I was less impressed with Georges, Plastique, and probably Vanjie. I think those 3 for me would have been lower because I think that while
That's fair.
Roxy did have some comebacks that at least were interesting enough to me, but I think there's an argument that she's right there, right? She's like right at that cutoff line. I don't think she was the absolute worst. That honor I think goes to Plastique, but I think that she, you know, obviously there's some questionable choices there, which is like not really being able to have a certain perspective, right? So it was just sort of like some sexual jokes and then we moved on.
It's just too bad because I do think that Roxy's story with this, especially with Snatch Game in particular, but also with Tasha Salad, is the same exact story, which is that the first time she did Tasha Salad, killed. First time she did Snatch Game, killed. Both season 5. All Stars 2, bomb Snatch Game, and kind of bombs Tasha Salad. So she comes back out and does like serviceable job, but nothing like blowing anybody out of the water. I just feel like it's such a risky move if you've done it successfully once and kind of bombed a second time with it. Like I don't know what the thinking there would have been to make this a safe character, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, I don't know shit. Roxy, I love you.
Cover all your bases, girl. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about Chanel as Liberace next. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I loved it. I think when I compare the 2 Liberace performances, I actually preferred Chanel's energy that was a little bit more muted. It was a little bit more muted and it was a little bit more, not even subtle necessarily in like the actual jokes themselves, but there was something about the delivery that I don't know. It felt so much more like an impersonation that combined with the prosthetics, combined with the outfit, like everything just felt genuinely on point. And I was actually upset when the judges were not giving her more flowers. Now, I don't know if that's just my personal opinion. And also, again, in a season where there's a lot of like, just be over the top and like intense and then that's funny. So to have something more subtle was more appealing to me in that moment. So I was very impressed with Chanel. I was very impressed with her lines. I don't know, maybe I saw her first so it felt like more unique. If they'd flipped the order, who knows, maybe I would have had a different opinion. But Beth, that's where I was landing on the Liberace gate, I guess.
I'm so with you 100%. I felt like I don't know if you guys or if any of the listeners have watched when SNL used to do the Vincent Price Halloween special and Fred Armisen would play Liberace. Nina felt like she was doing Fred Armisen doing Liberace. Like that's what I was getting the entire time. It was that like little energy that she was doing was Fred Armisen. And I'm not saying it wasn't funny. I loved it, but I do think, and I'm going to be honest. I don't know actually that I have not seen Behind the Candelabra. I have not actually really watched a lot about Liberace. I just know that he was a flamboyant pianist who had a lot of talent and costumes and all the wonderful things with it. So I think that for me, I thought the mannerisms looked really like, oh, that is somebody doing an impersonation. Like
Mm,
when Chanel was doing it, I got warped in like right into what she was selling. Even though I felt like the energy maybe wasn't as boisterously flamboyant, I
mhm,
felt like it was still rooted in something that she had been trying to get to, and I felt like her jokes were funny. I felt
mhm.
like that she had really good comebacks, I felt like she had a quick wit, and I think people are saying, like well, not the judges, I should say, were, like, really praising Nina on her quick wit, and I was like, I felt like Chanel was just as quick at coming up with those jokes, and I felt like most of them were funnier, but because
Yes.
Nina said them a little louder or a little gayer, so to say, like, in, like,
Yeah.
whatever, she got a bigger laugh. I don't know. That's where I
Mhm.
was but I'm with you. I felt like Chanel really killed it, and I think it would've been so funny. I don't think she should have beaten Gottmik, but it would've been so funny if both the Liberace's were in the top 2.
I know, right? All right, Aman, where do you
Yeah.
come down on all this?
I mean, no, I mostly agree. I feel like I think with Nina, because with Snatch Game, it's like the jokes that you can tell are either going to be, RuPaul laying you up and trying to get you to give a punchline that would make sense for your character, right? Like you're pulling references from whoever it is that you are. And then there's the other half of it where it's the improv where you are like volleying off of like the conversation that's going on with the rest of the queens. And I feel like with Nina, there was a lot of volleying, which was good and it's quick. But I think with Chanel, I felt like a lot of the jokes were more Liberace focused, which I kind of appreciated more because it felt to me like she knew more about Liberace than Nina did. So I think that Chanel was probably the better Liberace, but maybe Nina West was the better Snatch Lorette. I don't know how to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's a
That's
really fair
kind of
way
how
to
I
put
felt
that.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I mean, the judges, I think, were like, look, if you wanted to take this to Chanel, if you wanted to take this like a one-woman show, like of Liberace, this is really good. So yeah, maybe it's also the venue that you're performing in that maybe wasn't a match, at least for what the judges were looking for. But I think as an audience member, Chanel's was one that I really appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we kind of skimmed over this, but I also think she should get bonus points considering this was her first time ever doing Snatch Game. They didn't do
Yes.
it in season 1, and they certainly didn't do it in All Stars 1. And so she has never done Snatch Game normally, let alone in the In Love format. Which one do you think would be harder to do for the first time? The normal Snatch Game format or the In Love format? Keeping in mind the In Love format's only going to have 3 or 4 queens at a time.
I think this one's probably harder. I guess. I guess
With
because
less queens.
with less queens. I think only in the sense that like there's nowhere to hide. Like if you're bad, you're bad. Like at least with like when there's like 7 or 8 queens there, you can find a safe spot. But with this one, nope.
Mhm. I mean, you have more to volley off of as well with more
Yep.
queens
Mm-hmm.
interacting. So that I think could also make it a little bit easier, but also you'd need to do less to stand out if you're good. So
I think the only thing that gets a point in the easier favor for Snatch Game of Love is that you know what the theme is going to be. It's all like romance oriented, whereas you
mhm,
don't know what the questions will be for the normal Snatch Game, right? Like,
mhm.
but you
Mm-hmm.
could pretty much plan ahead of time. If I'm going to be going on All Stars, I got to plan this character to be on a dating show essentially,
Yeah.
and practice it in case you don't do. They change it up or whatever. But I think that's the only thing that makes it easier, but I agree. I think it'd be so much harder. So I want to give her like much more bonus points
Give
for
it some
doing the
props.
harder format the first time. And I think she did probably the best out of that first group, but I did really like Ingeria too. But like I do think that
Yeah.
she probably did the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's round out the group. Let's talk about Georges. I hate that my favorite.
Oh,
No, Amon, honestly, like my favorite moment was when Georgia started doing the Macarena, and then Jerry was like, he can't
You
see
can't
you.
see you.
and then she goes, she was doing the damn Macarena.
Yeah.
And that to me was great because I was like, do you think Monet Exchange thinks that she was just making a joke? Or does Monet actually think, oh, she really
She
was doing the
actually
Macarena?
did that. Yeah, I know. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Good
probably the
choice.
best part of George's performance, and that's about it. I mean, the us were funny, but only because it's like, girl, what are you doing?
Oh,
Um,
but
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like Monet only chose because there was like a little bit of beef between these two last year or the year before because Georges mistook Monique Hart for Monet. So now I feel like Monet only chose Georges to win as like an effort of like good faith. That's just kind of where I'm at with
I
it.
think Monet just wanted to be able to pick up whoever the winner was, and that's just what happened. I don't know. I think Monet was genuinely entertained by how bad it was, which like reminds me a little bit of like Jada being Prince and like it's like that over I'm sexy. Like just saying stuff over and over and like just committing to just that. It wasn't quite to the level that Jada can get away with, I feel like that
Mhm.
Georges was able to do. But I don't know. How did Georges pronounce John? It was like
Like
Louisiano
like
or something?
Yeah,
Louisiana, it sounded like some damn
Leguizamo.
pasta, bitch. That's what it
That
sounded
was
like.
amazing. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan for that.
Yeah, and I think like, Chi Chi is such a great, like such a fun character. Like probably my favorite of the three in Tu
Mhm.
Wong Fu. So then for her to come and like, what are you even doing? Like this isn't even
Did
just
you
watch
watch
the
the movie?
movie. Yeah, exactly. I was like, just watch the movie, pick up some lines, take that with you. You got everything you need.
Also,
So
really bold to do that with RuPaul there.
yeah, it's like, remember that movie you were in, Rue? That's why I think she didn't watch it.
Just like, oh god.
No, I mean, it's cute. Look, honestly, I actually think it's a good pick for her
Sure.
also. And I think it's something she could have done well. I just don't, there's something that must happen during some of these acting challenges. Her brain just like shuts off because she is
Well,
a
you
funny,
can see
entertaining
it.
person.
I think that I mean, if you really looked, I mean, you actually didn't have to really look. It was pretty blatant.
Mhm.
I mean, her eyes were like deer in headlights the entire time, and just like didn't really do much with her face. Oh, it's the
Oh,
same face. Just
oh.
now I'm Macarena, and oh, oh.
It's better than Alana Glazer at least. So like, I think that was yeah, exactly. I think that was a bit of a step up. So at least it's better than last time. All right.
Oh god.
Let's talk about Snatch Game 2, the second version. So this is with with Raven. And we have Vanjie, Nina West, Plastique, and Gottmik. Beth, what was your opinion on Vanjie?
Okay, so I agree. I do think that Vanjie would have been in the bottom 4, but I at least am entertained enough by her as a person to
Fair.
put her above
Roxy. Yeah.
Roxy for me.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
And I felt like she literally had like she didn't have to say anything else after she says she was on her pyramid. That to
Mhm.
me was peak comedy, and I actually laughed out loud at that. And I just love the idea that Cleopatra sounds and acts like Vanjie. Like that to me, like all these, like, oh yeah, like for centuries having this idea that Cleopatra was like the sexiest woman ever, and like Mark Antony and like this big love story. And then actually she comes out and she talks about this. It was so funny to me. And I thought that Vanjie looked gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, the jokes weren't there. I also don't think she got the reference half the time of what was going on, which gotta at least know the reference, people.
Well, so the Luxor, like, let's talk about the Luxor thing, for
Yeah.
example, because part of me is like, obviously, she wouldn't know the casino if she's actually Cleopatra, right? She's like not going to know the casino, right?
Right.
But
She wouldn't know what a casino is.
right, but then because wasn't Luxor that was like a town, right? That was like a city in Egypt.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, Luxor, a city in Egypt. So like if she was Cleopatra, right, she would know the city, like that it was a city.
Yeah.
So then maybe like that should have been the reference.
But
But look,
even then, I mean, this was Nina West making the reference, so I understand. Like, it wasn't like RuPaul trying to get her to
right,
know something
exactly.
about Egypt.
Yeah.
But I do also, I mean, the little moments that she clearly planned out ahead of time, like, you know, be sure to wrap that. And I don't mean like a mummy or whatever, like those things. I mean, there were little lines in there that were funny for sure. She looked great. And to be honest, she was at least in it. I don't know. I'm entertained by her doing pretty much anything. Like, she's somebody that's very similar to like Candy and you know, Silky and these people who just have like a very fun personality, a voice that's very distinctive, and are just fun. And Shangela's like this, like people who can just be themselves, and then you just put on a wig and you pretend to be somebody else, but like now you're just here's Cleopatra, but Cleopatra's Vanjie now. Like that to me works. Alyssa Edwards could do the same thing, you know? She did the same thing with Joan Crawford.
Yeah, exactly. That's not Joan Crawford.
Yeah.
No
I
wire hangers.
that's all you really gotta do. You just gotta commit. And if you're like 100% in it and it's even really awful or whatever, that's kind of iconic in its own way. So I don't know. But I definitely can respect if people put her below Roxy. I personally don't, but I definitely respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if she would have had just a few more Cleopatra specific jokes and were just able to volley a little bit more, because anything that she says, like you said, Beth, is going to be funny. Like she's just one of those queens where she that's just it just is who she is. But I just felt like in terms of like characterization, not there. And I don't know, I just want to see Vanjie win so bad, so I'm like sad about it, but like it is what it is, whatever.
Let's talk about our second Liberace. And, you know, obviously, again, I said my piece about Chanel. I want to say that by saying that Nina West still did absolutely a fantastic job. I mean, she was the one who was in there with all the ad libs and jumping back and forth, Beth. So I still think like definitely deserving of top 2.
For sure. She's somebody that, I mean, when I think of queens that just get Snatch Game, she's somebody that comes to mind for sure. It's a very hard thing, I think, to do to the level of the people who have been truly Snatch Game greats. And I think that she's in that group. I don't think she's at the top of that group, but I think she's in that group for sure. And I think that she just proved it again here. Like she is somebody who knows how to interact with everybody, the host, the other contestants, the guest in this case, like the bachelor. And she knows how to divert attention back to you, because the name of the game in this one is stand out and be in character and make RuPaul laugh. And if you can do those 3 things, and you want to stand out in a good way, you don't want to stand out in the like Detox taking a piss on the stage Kesha way, for sure. You want to stand out by making RuPaul laugh. So she knows how to do that, and that's her talent. She's great at it.
For sure.
Aman, what about you? You agree with the takes?
Yeah, for sure. I thought that it was the volleying. She just was quick with it, knew what to say, it was in the moment, it made sense, it was funny off the cuff. Just good for her.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we gotta talk about Plastique.
Do we?
Okay. Look, I planted my flag.
Look at the pat. Okay, so the dog was
yeah, exactly. So anyway, Lassie. Look, I mean, Aman, Plastique knows Ali Wong, chooses to do Ali Wong, and I think makes just sort of one joke throughout the entire performance.
I don't know if this was like right now, but I'm pretty sure I saw someone screenshot Ali Wong's Twitter now being private, and it was after this episode aired. And somebody quoted the tweet saying, "Damn, was it that bad?" I was just like,
that's amazing.
Oh, that's so funny that she had to go into hiding. Oh my god, yeah, it is. It is on private though. I just went to check. So,
wow.
Yeah, Plastique, honey. Wrap it up in Plastique. This was bad. This was so bad. I just girl, where were the jokes? Where was it? Where was the characterization? I wasn't even getting Ali. And I don't know. a lot about Ali. I've only seen Always Be My Baby or Always Be My Maybe once, and I've seen like maybe like 3 seconds of her Netflix special. I enjoyed the 3 seconds that I saw. I don't know a lot about her, but I know that Plastique was not giving her. I know that much. So yeah, I just who did you talk to before you got here, Plastique? Did someone say no? Because this was so bad.
But like, I feel like if you know like, okay, so if I knew a comedian, like, let's say, okay, I don't know, like, I'm just gonna get, okay, let's say I'm doing Mike Bloom for Snatch Game, okay, in this hypothetical situation.
I love this already, please.
I'm gonna go to Mike Bloom and I'm gonna be like, will you workshop with me? Like, you're a comedian, you're funny, let's volley, let's pretend I'm you, and let's practice. So I'm like, if you're a Plastique, you know Ali Wong, you know you're gonna do her, like, go to her and be like, hey, what would you do? What would you say in this circumstance? Like, learn something from it. It was really not giving. It fell so flat. I felt horrible. She looked gorgeous though.
She looked okay.
Great.
So here's the thing.
She looked a lot
good.
like Ali. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she did have the one, the like that kind of thing. She did do the mannerism every once in a while, like spot on.
Mm-hmm.
That is not funny though. And I agree. I think it was Gottmik in a confessional who was basically like, it is hard to do someone who's a comedian for their job. Like, how are you going to be funnier than they already are if you're not a comedian yourself? Like, that's a huge task to give yourself. Thank God Plastique is like so stunning. You know what I mean? Like, just, but I just don't know why you would choose Ali Wong, period, even if you were going to go for a comedian, because she's not somebody who has a distinctive something about her that is really different. I mean, obviously her material is different, right? That's what makes her unique. But it's not like she has something that she says or does a lot. Like, if you were to choose like, I'm trying to think of a comedian that would make sense to do, and I'm like, Kathy Griffin, maybe. Maybe I think you could maybe do Chelsea Handler, but these are people that are still like really hard. Amy Schumer, like, these are people that would be really hard to do because you have to out comedy their own thing. And I wouldn't try to do that, especially for someone whose, skill set isn't there. Like, I think in this, it's becoming a more popular thing to do. Hey, here's a historical figure that nobody actually knows what they're like. Let's just invent a personality for them. That's the way to do it. We saw it with Cleopatra. Exactly. We've seen this with Harriet Tubman. We've seen it like all over the place. Go be somebody. Like,
I still kind of feel a ways about Harriet Tubman.
Not the Harriet Tubman.
Count your days, Simone. Count your days. It was the coming up from beneath the desk. Look at us.
No, my favorite is when she thought Jennifer Lewis was Jennifer Lawrence. Oh, Jennifer Lawrence. All them white people taking up all of our jobs here. Oh, Jennifer Lewis. So good.
That's so funny. Okay, let's close things out talking about Gottmik. So, Beth, you said that you really liked this performance with Gottmik as Pal, the dog that played Lassie.
Again, I mean, we've had I just think back to like season 7 where it was like revolutionary that Kennedy was doing Little Richard, and like, then we've just openly had like guys and now dogs and such that are on the show. I just love
robots also.
The slippery slope.
Right?
Slippery slope.
This just turned into like just be a character and stick with it. And it worked for Gottmik. Gottmik is very, very, very smart. And I think that I know for some reason when I think of Gottmik from her season, I think of her mostly as just like the fashion person, but I forget that her Paris Hilton was so good. And then I go and rewatch it, and she's so smart for it because she knows that's like her thing. Well, this time it's like she put on an actual character, had this like 1940s, maybe a little British, maybe a little not, actress who was,
transatlantic.
It was so, so good. And you saw a vision, a point of view for the character, and then she was able to bring it out. Like, that's what Vanjie was missing. That's what, half of them were missing. Actually, it was a point of view to work from, and
Mhm.
she was able to figure out what this character was going to be, and then was said, okay, now I could just come with a whole bunch of bitch jokes essentially, and then I'm good to go. And she was
Mm.
amazing. She had things ready to go and just knew how to spin them in the moment to volley or to answer the question.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Aman.
Yeah, I was just gonna. I agree. I think that it was a smart choice because it's a dog. It's a famous dog that we all know, and then you get to make references about the material, about Lassie themselves, and then you get to make just all types of dog jokes, and all of them are going to work because you're a dog. But then just also the paint job, the makeup, the prosthetics. Also,
Mhm.
it just looked so great and so immaculate and so just like. I want to see this character again. Like it
Yeah.
made me miss like when she left. I was like, oh god, no! Like I want more of the Lassie shit. So yeah,
Wow.
this is something that God makes you take on the road. I believe that.
This is something that I like begrudgingly have to say is amazing because when she initially was like, I'm doing the dog who played Lassie, I was like, get out of here. Is there no sanctity in Snatch Game anymore? Like, what are we're allowing dogs now? And then she comes up with this character of this like old Hollywood starlet, and I'm like, God damn it, she's actually funny, and this is great. Like, I hate that I like this. I want to not like this.
I'm with
But
you.
I just have to give her credit where credit is due for creating this character. I thought it was fun. At a certain point though, I just want to be like, only real people, no more. I forbid it. At the same time, we got something really funny. So, what do I know?
It's amazing too, because I was thinking about it. I was like, it's funny because it's still about copyright. That's why people can't be fictional characters. They have to be the actor who plays them or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is so funny to me that she couldn't be Lassie, so she had to be the dog that played Lassie. And that to me makes it funny. Where like it's not funny when it's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
being Megan Mullally, but as Karen Walker. But here it's like
Right.
I'm playing the dog who played Lassie. That in itself is funny.
But that's what I think also allows her to take that certain personality, right? That she plays this
sure.
old Hollywood starlet because it is the actor, right? It's the dog actor, but it's the actor, not the character. So I think it definitely adds some dimensionality to it and actually makes it better because of that.
I also love that she just I love how she did the makeup and everything. It was really gorgeous.
Mhm.
But I also love that she's just fully smoking and has like opposable thumbs and didn't have any paws or anything. It was just human hands. Like that to me
It's fine.
was also
The
funny. Like
anthropomorphicness of it all.
Yeah.
I think it would have been weirder had she actually gone full dog. I think like I don't
Full
think it would
furry.
have landed.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, there's that line you gotta
yeah.
walk. Yeah.
She's really smart. She knew where the line was.
Right. Okay, let's talk about quickly. Let's go through some of the runway looks. So, a tail and two titties was the category for the runway this week. We're going to kick things off with
Which
Angeria.
hold on, I
Yes.
might be I might be an uncultured swine. So
Okay.
I know that it's a play on the words of a tale and two cities, right? Which is a
Tail of
book.
Cities, yeah.
What takes place in the book? Because I didn't really understand the runway. Because I'm like, okay, so I haven't read the book, so maybe I'm not
It
getting
has
the
nothing to
reference.
do with the book other than the
Correct.
name of the book.
Correct. So,
So this is just all about breasts.
I
It's
think
about
it's
having a
supposed to
tail
be
and two
yes,
titties, and that's it.
correct. That's
Oh.
what I think it was as well.
Oh
A
my god,
tail.
I'm an idiot. I'm an
A
idiot.
tail.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I didn't know that it was TAIL. I thought it was TALE the whole time. I'm stupid.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
I have to say,
yeah.
I had like we were learning about spoonerisms in like 11th grade English, and I don't remember why. I don't remember anything else from 11th grade English. I don't remember the books or anything that we read. But what I do remember is the reason why we were learning about spoonerisms was because my teacher said, if any of you have ever read A Sale of Two Titties. And she went, oh, I'm in A Tale of Two Cities. That's a spoonerism. And we were like, what's a spoonerism? And then after we all died laughing that our 11th grade teacher said titties. But now I say it every week.
Titties. Okay, so
all right, well that makes much more sense.
Yeah,
now.
so that's why Angeria has a tail and two titties.
And I give her two tooties.
Yes, this is a toot for me as well. I think this is gorgeous. I absolutely love this. This is so cool.
Me too. I love how sculpted the hair is. I love that the hair is actually the horns. Like the horns aren't sticking out of hair. the hair is horns. That to me is so cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of one of the premiere looks or the promo looks rather from All Stars 9 or not All Stars 9 but season 9, and I can't think of which one, but like that sculpted bodice and shoulders of it all just reminds me of one of their dresses.
Kind of Alexis Michelle-ish.
Yes, that's what it is. I think Alexis is purple, but it's still giving me
This
that
was
same
like
silhouette.
a yellow.
It's like a violet, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Alexis. Yeah, it's the same. So Alexis is wearing green, like a lime green.
Oh, I was off.
I felt like she had like a Mountain Dew color. That's what I called it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
I do want to just say I feel like Angeria's outfit is what Tina Burner wishes she would wear on an All-Star season.
Hunger Games. Okay, let's talk about Roxy, who's up next, who merges the Roger Rabbit sort of cosplay with the Jessica Rabbit cosplay. It's cute. I mean, tail can't see here, but yeah, it's cute. She's got a tail. She's got 2 titties.
I think now that I know what the theme is, I think that if the tail were a little longer, it would register to me more. Obviously, a gorgeous look. I do love the melding of the 2 characters, but yeah, it's not. If we're gonna give the point to the people that follow the theme, that tail bitch. Where's the tail? Where's the tail?
Yeah, I think this is a really fun concept, and I think that her paint and everything in the front is working for me. The back wasn't big enough, if you know what I mean.
No, I agree with that. Okay, let's talk about Chanel. I wanted to really love this, but I hate that she had to constantly hold up the tail, especially with Vanjie also coming out with a scorpion tail and having hers suspended by itself. So I will say I love her makeup. Again, she also looks like Morgan McMichaels in my head, but I can't get that out of my head. Anyway, I really want to love this, but that just frustrated me a lot. So
I feel so bad for Chanel, who first has somebody else also doing Liberace and then has somebody else who has a better scorpion tail. But I will say I like her concept better than Vanjie's. But I do like the scorpion look better on Vanjie's. But you can't deny the way she pays. This is a drag queen, baby.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't love the take on the scorpion for some reason. I don't know. Something about it is giving like very Mad Max Fury Road. I don't know. It's it's giving desert.
I think that's why I like it, because I was like, oh, she's gonna be a scorpion in the desert, and like Mad Max is in the desert. Like I get this, but I also like totally understand not liking it because there's a lot that could be.
It's a lot going on.
A lot. Let's talk about Georges. Now talk about a furry. I know. Look, drag looks didn't update. I had to take screenshots myself. I was slumming it, doing I can't. Anyway, so that's how you get that still of Georgia. So they're little furry titties. That's cute. It's cute.
It looks a little too big for her. That was my only thought. She looks swallowed up by it.
Yeah.
But it's cute.
I think because the arms are her normal human arms, but then she's got the rest of it is all like she should have done, if she's gonna do the arms, she's gotta do furry arms too, I think.
That's okay. So this is where I'm gonna get at. Simone did the like fox thing. I appreciate. Okay, I'm not trying to be anti-furry or anything. I just think it goes into furry territory more than drag territory. And I'm not trying to put a limit on what you can and can't do with drag, because I don't even do drag. So like, who am I? But I don't know. Like, to me, the point of the outfit isn't the outfit. The point of the outfit is like a fursuit.
Yeah. I think that your take is valid.
I don't know. I think it's a me thing. I don't think it's a her thing. That's
I agree. I think there's a line between furry and drag. I think you can meld the two, and they can definitely borrow elements from one another, but there's a line. There's a furry and there's a drag queen. So I do think it's a little bit more furry than drag,
obviously,
in my opinion as well.
obviously furries are not for entertainment, right? They feel like they have like a fursona and whatever. Like I understand that it's a separate
Wait, they
thing from
call
like
them
drag.
personas? Oh my god, I love them.
That's what
I
it's
didn't know
called.
cute.
Yeah, fursona. You know where I first learned about furries was from CSI in like 2006. They had an episode about a furry convention where,
See,
yeah.
who said
Uh,
TV wasn't educational?
I'm telling you, I learned a shit ton about about the world because of CSI.
Okay, well, let's talk about Vanjie. First of all, I just want to say Vanjie's off the rack, like the off the rack quip that she threw back at the judges. I was kind of totally here for that. I love it.
I love that you could tell in the moment
Mm.
she was like, oh, they're about
Yep.
to get it from me. And then she just didn't listen to the rest of it. And she was like, I want to know where you find something off the rack this Taylor, but okay. And I was like,
Mhm.
it's like, Vanjie, you ate
Go
that.
off, girl.
Mhm. Tell them.
Mhm.
Let them know. Like this, you an
Mhm.
all-star now, but this is your third time. She could talk her shit if she needs to. I'm not mad at it.
Well, was this supposed to be her monochromatic look, I wonder?
No, because
No
she had a
way, not with that tail.
I don't know. I think it's a better monochromatic look than her other one was.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't disagree.
That's very true, though. But actually, the hair matches, Beth. The hair matches.
That's what I'm telling you.
Okay,
I like
let's
it
talk about.
though. I like the little, the little lights on the tail.
She look
Cute.
gorgeous though. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
the
Let's talk
titties are
about
not really
Nina.
anything
So,
special, but whatever.
well, and then I think Nina has the opposite problem. Like her titties were the most special, and then her tail was just her booty hole. Like, is that supposed to be the tail?
No. The tail is the headpiece. It's the tail
Oh,
of the
the
comet.
Okay, that makes sense. Look, I'll give her. I will give her points for that. It's a unique interpretation of tail. I'll allow it, especially because I love the way that the planets look. Like the rhinestone planets, I thought were so gorgeous.
Also, I've never seen her with eye makeup like that, and it looks good.
I want her to take the face keening off. I want to actually see the
kind
rest of the
feel
eye
like
makeup.
The reason why it's good is because, and I don't mean that
Because the face
about her
painting is
face,
so
but I
good.
just mean like that. The way I said that, it sounded really awful.
You'd be
But
prettier. Your makeup would be better if you covered half your face.
covered half
That
your face.
mask makes you look so good. Oh my god.
God.
Okay, yeah, that's a 2. It's a 2 for me. I do love this. Oh my
I
god,
like it
yes, of
too.
course. Plastique walks out looking absolutely immaculate. This is gorgeous. This is a 2 for me.
See, this is kind of what you were getting at before, Beth. Where there's the furry and then there's drag, and I think that this is definitely more drag than it is furry, but it has those elements to it. Again, it's not my favorite look actually of Plastique so far, but just I love the way that hair meshes into those ears. It's just so seamless. Just a fantastic job.
Those boobies look like they're hers.
Apparently sorry to interrupt. On the Roscoe's video, she said that she spent around $250,000 for all of her runways this season.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's showing.
Yeah.
It's showing.
I believe
First
it.
of all, the drag queens be making, RuPaul's be making that kind of money. Bitch, I need to start doing drag. What am I doing?
Oh, I want to say I doubt she's making that kind of money. I think that there's
But the
probably
fact that she could spend that money on outfits alone for one fucking season, girl.
It makes me wonder how much they got reimbursed for looks for this, if it's for charity. I have to imagine. I imagine she's making quite a bit of money with content creation. When
she's the highest followed girl, right?
Oh, that's true.
Of
I
all
forgot. She's
social
like
media. This isn't about her. Obviously, she's using her art at her drag art for her content, but this is really more about social media money, I think, than anything else. But regardless, thank God she spent this much money, because I'm living every single time she hits the runway. I'm sorry, she's just absolutely stunning. The kitsune reference looks so cute. I just love this, and I love too, every week it's like a love letter to, if not something Vietnamese, something from a different part of Asia, or something that is shared among various different Asian communities. And I love that education, so to say, that representation. I think it's so beautiful. And she just, oh my god, I could look at her all the time. She's a living piece of artwork.
Speaking of representation, our last look is Gottmik. I actually saw the looks first. Like I saw this look, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." I love the fact that she did this. I love the fact that they allowed her to do this as well, because who knows with like censorship issues. But I mean, such a statement. I guess the tail or the arms, but I kind of don't really care. I like want to give her a pass on this because this is such a cool concept.
I think that she was doing tail as TALE
Yeah, that's
this
what
Okay,
I got
yeah.
time,
from it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
which I will absolutely give her the props for it, because this is such a statement. This is such a personal statement. It's just so beautiful. I loved
Mhm.
everything about this. And I love that you're celebrating top surgery with a beautifully feminine snatched face and drag, and with this high
Mhm.
Ariana ponytail. Like, it's what a statement this is. Like I can be a trans man who's also a drag queen and be amazing in my entertainment identity and in out of drag with who I am. Just beautiful. Absolutely
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, I loved it too. I was stunned when she walked out. I thought it was
I
just
know.
I don't know anything about being trans. I'm not trans, but I felt like just watching her walk, I was like, I feel like I get it a little bit more now. Even though I'm not, you know what I mean? Like even though I'm not of
Mhm.
that community, I was like, I understand it a bit more now. And I just thought, yeah, just such a just so artistic. And I'm a
Mhm.
Swarovski whore. I love buying things from Swarovski. So the fact that she has some Swarovski blood and some Swarovski
Yep.
titties, I was like, girl, you got me. I don't even need to see nothing else.
We love
I'm
to see
there.
it. All right. That's the Snatch Game. That's the runway. So we have lip sync to talk about. Nina versus Gottmik. We finally get the Nina's dress reveal. And boy, do I say, how disappointing. It was a disaster. I'm sorry. It also didn't fit the song. It's banana. Anita was the guest judge, and like it just didn't fit. And
Is it the
Gottmik
correct?
absolutely deserved
She
to win. I'm sorry.
wore that last episode too, right?
She
Yeah.
wore it every time, right?
She's worn it. This is her third
Okay,
time
yeah.
wearing it. She was gonna
Oh,
wear it
so
until she
she's
lip
just
synced.
so no matter what the song could have been Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" and we would have saw that shit. Oh my
I
god.
think so. Yeah.
It's just I also want to blame production here, though. How are you gonna make a comedy challenge and then make the song not something that comedy queens would perform? Like, this is
Yeah.
different. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
Mhm.
You're trying to reward the winners of a said challenge. You should
Mhm.
have a song that kind of goes with that theme.
Yeah,
Or
I
yeah.
do
don't know if
another
we're still there.
spoken word one, like the one that they did with Monet and what's her face back
Jinx.
in All
I'm
Stars.
still
Yeah,
waiting on another one of those.
yeah, we need to do another one of those.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so that was a little bit embarrassing, a little bit hella cringe, and I was embarrassed and I felt uncomfortable, and then we moved on. So congratulations to
Happily
Gottmik.
ever after.
Exactly. And
Gottman looks
Gottmik
sexy as hell, though.
looks so
She
good,
did. She
honestly,
did.
so good. Yeah, and that's the thing is like I think Gottmik like did a serviceable job, so it's not
Mhm.
like Gottmik also just like won by default. I think it was
Mhm.
solid. And Gottmik ends up snipping Georges. So we'll see how that decision
Mhm.
plays out. But the other big decision to be made is who are they going to give their bonus benefactress badges to? And we see a
Yes.
lot of discussion about this. Oh, Nina Chanel are in an alliance. If they block, so and so, they're going to snip so and so. We have like all this logic going through
Give
who's
their
going to be a
badges to
target.
each other and both have two.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Do we like load up on each other? Do we make other people a target? Do we give to someone who doesn't have one? There's a lot of discussion about what ultimately is going to happen. I'm very curious to see, especially Gottmik, what she decides to do.
I think
Mhm.
what's also especially interesting with the storytelling about Nina and Chanel is that we get a confessional last episode in the ball challenge that it's
Mhm.
just like the chips have kind of aligned, that Nina and Chanel are just kind of together because everybody else is paired up. That's how she proposes that last week, and then
Mhm.
this week it's like all of a sudden they're the ones who have an alliance. And how much of that, I wonder, is them feeling like, hey, we're both 44 or whatever, they're 42 or whatever their age is. We both see a lot in common with each other. And of course, we're bonding. How much of it is we're not connecting as well with the other girls, so we're going to have each other? And how much of it is them just ostracizing themselves from the other group? That's what I think is interesting to follow along with this, because if everybody else was like, oh, alliances are happening, and it starts with Chanel and Nina, something's fishy with Chanel's standpoint from last week. Not that it's necessarily wrong. I just think I think that that's going to be an important storyline throughout this non-elimination season.
Yeah, we've seen it mentioned a lot now, right? So I think that it's probably going to play a role.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does it for us. Is there anything else that either of you want to say about this episode?
No, I'm good.
Okay, let's see. What was next week? I didn't write it down.
I didn't even pay.
Did they? They're making over. They're making over firemen.
Oh. Okay. I'm into that.
Bunch of firemen, I guess, from LA, I guess, are coming in and they're to makeover challenge. Yep.
Okay.
Turn them into fierce drag queens.
Okay, great. Well, we'll be back.
Have to stop by my place because my pussy might be on fire.
Well, I mean, look, if you flood your basement, I guess they're there to save you.
Oh no! I hope I have insurance.
Oh no! All right, let's get out of here.
The thought of Nina putting on all those layers 3 times in a row only to lose. Oh my god.
Yeah, but also like one of the reveals got stuck. Like she couldn't pull it off properly. One of them didn't cut. Like they were ugly. They didn't even work.
It was the same dress 17 times with different words on it.
But also, what I think is even more of a gag is the fact that production didn't even like show it. Like they were totally over it. Like that to me is the bigger read, not even the audience. It's like the fact that production was just like, we're not even going to show this.
But
like,
the girls were living for it though. And that comes up in the next episode because Gottmik approaches them in the workroom. I'm like, all of you guys were cheering for Nina and not me. What was that about? Like, so okay.
Looking forward to that. Yes. Also nervous for Nina for the makeover challenge because I believe Nina asked Chanel, how do you glue down a wig in Untucked, which is also a little bit of a like, I'm sorry, what? what did you say?
I thought, okay, the way I interpreted that was, how do you glue down a wig?
I see. Okay. Not how do you do it, but how do you do it?
I could have been the one who misinterpreted that.
All right. Well, we'll see.
I think it's fair to assume the way you interpreted it. Sorry.
We're not judging our books by their covers. We're judging them by the pages we've seen so far. Okay. All right. Aman, where can people find you on social media? What do you have to plug?
You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin, just here chilling with Liana and Beth for Drag Race.
Yes. Beth, what about you?
You can follow me everywhere at AugustaWind11, and you can follow my weekly meltdown for weekly meltdowns.
Perfect. You can follow me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. Masked Singer overdone. B&B almost overdone. So we are just here chilling, having a great time with Drag Race for the time being. And if you're also having a great time, you can leave your star ratings and reviews for us on iTunes. Rob has a website.com/dragrace if you want to do that. It's always very helpful for us. Shout out to the whole RHAP team for all of their help behind the scenes getting this podcast out into your eyes and ears. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.